there'saboard.com. Take a look.
There's a board. Created in the spirit of the Dev Bootcamp community, based on the desire to help others while solidifying our own learning, the board is a tool to connect those that need help with their peers that are willing to give it. Born of the best intentions, the board is defined most by its limitations. The board is limited in time and scope. The board is limited in space and context. The board is difficult to access, it's difficult to monitor, it's difficult to maintain. The board is dirty. Where there was a board, now there's a board.com.
So, from the very beginning, we wanted to make an app that DVC students would actually use, and not something that would just end up on a lonely GitHub repository. So we wanted to make this polished, bug-free application with a great user experience. But do this as quickly as possible, so we could get some user feedback and know what we did was useful. So in order to do that, we focused on one key feature, and that was building tutoring appointments and signing up for them. So with that deployed, we gave the tool to our users, we collected data on how they were using it, and we focused on what we were doing over the next few days. We added new features and refinements with each release, ultimately moving us beyond a simple scheduling application.
We wanted to finish our project as quick as possible. We employed continuous integration with full back-end testing. We took an agile approach to this by using Kanban board and continuous delivery so that we can learn from each of our releases. Our Kanban board helped visualize where we were and what we needed to prioritize. Some of the libraries that we tapped were full calendar. It helped us neatly demonstrate how students schedule appointments, how they can sign up for appointments, how they can cancel and delete appointments. We built the front and the back end as complex as possible so that the user can use the website as frictionlessly as possible. And yeah, so now Heather's going to help you take a look at there'saboard.com.
The board is for bringing people together. One student, one tutor. So this requires a time and a place. DVC provides us with the space. We just have to find someone to work with. This might seem simple, especially of a student body of 70+ people. But when you're busy with the DVC challenges, finding someone to pair with over the weekend or in the evening, it's kind of the last thing on your mind. Enter, there's a board. You can simply sign up for a time slot and make yourself available for a 30-minute session. Any DVC student can sign up for this. If I feel like I'm struggling, I can find some available tutor to sign up with. I can tell them what I want to learn about. I'm really struggling with Ruby today, and I'm going to book his time. I can also browse through the appointments. I can see all of the appointments, or I can see open appointments, or appointments that are just related to me. So with these key features in place, we're ready to move on to the next step.
With each release, we rolled out new features. In the interest of providing as friction-free the user experience as possible, we focused on addressing complexities in the back end to ensure that the end user's experience would be as fluid and simple as possible. So towards that end, we allow users to sign in using their GitHub credentials, which we then check against the GitHub API to verify their membership and identity through the DVC community. We implemented what we like to refer to as the low-friction user profile, wherein the majority of the user's information is actually drawn directly from GitHub to the GitHub API, including their full name, their avatar, their email address, requiring no further data entry or action by the user. The low-friction user profile also allows users to augment their personal information in order to further enrich their experience. For example, by providing their cell phone number and opting in to text notifications. With all of our core features fully implemented, we looked for additional features that would further enrich the DVC student experience.
One of the things we wanted to focus on was encouraging students to tutor. So we put a progress bar. I believe Heather is about 1/5 on our way to her goal of 10 tutoring sessions. And we also wanted to know who's like been the busiest tutor, who's king of the tutors. So we have a leaderboard. Right now, Phil and Heather are tied at 2. And that's from the most recent 45 days. Another thing we wanted to tackle is like, I would want to share a resource with somebody about something related to DVC or some challenge I had. What would you normally do? You go online, look for something, and then if you find it valuable, it answers your question, you might want to share it with your classmates. So how would you do that? You would email them, or it gets lost in the inbox, something like that. So we wanted to share that. So we implemented a share feature. You can share something, and then you can come back and look it up, whether it be about a resource or something fun, cats. Yeah. And now David's going to have to take a look at the mentoring aspect.
So every student in this space has had that moment when they become confounded beyond reason, when they've been led down a series of rabbit holes by Stack Overflow, or they've come across an error message that reads more like a trade agreement than something designed to help you. When that moment arises, we have mentors, past students whose role it is to get us unstuck. Sometimes it's a little hard to find out who they are and where they are in the space. We figure with an application that's designed to be opened by every student all day, that's something we could actually help with. In fact, you can see it here. I've made Heather a mock mentor for today, up in our active mentor section. But how to control this information, how to determine whether a mentor is in the space. That's where we like to enter our check-in button for mentors. Simple green button, the simplest user interaction since a toaster. You hit check-in, and you're shown as a mentor available in the space. So you've heard about our application's features and the various iterations that it took to get us here. Before we go, there's one last feature I'd like to talk to you about, which is our mentor buttons. Now, you've probably spotted the bright orange button in the corner of our normal view, Get Help. What most of you might not know is that attached to the monitors in this space are equally bright and orange post-it notes with the same purpose. The idea being that when I need help, I can take the post-it note and stick it to the top of the screen, flagging the mentors down, letting them know that I have something that I need help with. But does it work? Honestly, not really. We can't expect the mentors to be looking up across every screen in the space every 3.5 seconds. They have code reviews to do, they have work to do. So we thought we could fix this for software. We didn't want to have that same limitation about having to pay attention to something. We didn't want to make them have a tab open. We wanted some sort of visual indication that would let them know that someone needs help. It wasn't dependent on their computer. And that's where our mentor button comes in. So behind me, I have Damien, and he's a student. And he's actually getting all kinds of frustrated with something he's doing. And Heather's a mentor, and she's probably reading a book or doing a code review. She's stuck in her work. Damien needs help. And how's he going to let her know? He's going to hit the Get Help button. And you'll see our mentor lights light up. The idea of the mentor light is a simple visual indication to let the mentors know that someone needs help. Heather can now check her computer, see who's in the queue, and go help Damien. But before she does this, she can tap the light, turning off all the other lights in the space, letting the other mentors know that that problem's been dealt with. And off she goes. So building these lights took us outside of the world of Rails and building the usual sort of create and update records. We had to get a little bit down and dirty with the C++ running on C++ for the embedded code that runs on these devices. They're actually subscribed to a cloud message bus, and they're not dependent on any server or software installed on this site, so we can use them anywhere. So now you've seen there's a board, an application that we built to try and break down the barriers between students. application we're also very proud to call our own. I'd like to open up 20 questions.
Woo!
How much did one of those cost?
$48.
So,
So it's yeah, not expensive.
What do you find was the most challenging part of executing on this?
Do I let Heather answer this?
I think dealing with full calendar and its lack of documentation was my hardest challenge.
So
Well, I just have a question to you challenges throughout the project.
documentation on full calendar.
Yeah. Learning Agile and Angular and then dropping it.
Yeah, we tried to start some technologies that we didn't actually fully understand and then had to drop them.
In order to make the interface as simple as possible, we took the trouble of interacting with several external APIs for implementing email notifications, text messaging, verifying credentials and identity via GitHub. So integrating all of those technologies into one app was fairly tricky.
Zach?
So assuming that there have been multiple people or multiple locations using this tool, how do you validate that I get the right validation that I can validation?
So it's one of the things we didn't actually implement is the user's location, but we actually can determine which groups you are in on GitHub. So adding a location to the user and then just like dividing those up based on which campus you're on is fairly trivial. Like we can read the fact that we're all members of the cohort. We just didn't go that far because it didn't sort of fit into the scope of our MVP.
I wish when you said, what did you use to make the appointments in the calendar?
So the calendar is a jQuery plugin called Full Calendar. That's just the display layer. Everything else on the back end is just Rails. And so when you pop a modal to do something, that's all being rendered by Rails. Erin?
Hi.
Hi.
I love this. First of all. But second, I may have missed this. Like when the mentors, when they start their shift, would they log into this, or could they essentially go back into the system that they use to set up their appointments and schedule their shift, which is Google Calendar? So could we use the Google Calendar API to plug into this to automatically populate essentially when the shifts start?
Yeah.
We investigated already the Google API. One of the features that stayed icebox and didn't make it into the end was actually a display of upcoming DVC events. So we actually worked out the technology behind that. So we're fairly familiar with the Google API at this point. But I didn't know that you use that for mentors. As it works now, the mentors, as members of the DVC community, can log in as easily as anybody else. They go to the mentors page and simply click to indicate that they're on duty, and their name and photo will appear on the page that all the students see. Their status as mentors is something that's handled on the back-end administrative side to identify the role of the individual user as a mentor.
It's certainly something we could do. One of the things we accepted was we wouldn't have access to all of DVC's systems when we built it, so we had to sort of work around that and keep it as simple as we could. It's actually why we didn't implement a system for controlling mentors. I have to do it on the database manually because we figured that you would have something good for doing this that would keep us from having to write code. Like we would actually be able to get that information from somewhere else.
So we got time for next time.